After her divorce with a child to support, Elisa was forced to return to her mother, Marta's house. She did not know what that choice would mean. But let's see how things went. In the meantime, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so as not to miss other exciting stories. Enjoy the show. Her mother always complained that Elisa should have chosen a better husband, that she should have thought twice before getting married. "I know, Mom. Please, that's enough." She tried to explain to Marta one day, "I was the one who chose to live with him, and now my daughter, and I have to make it on our own. These things happen. We didn't get along. What should I do now? Should I live with regrets forever?" Elisa tried everything to sensitize her mother and avoid conflicts with her. "I won't always be on your back, Mom. When Aurora grows up and goes to kindergarten, I'll find a job," Elisa explained. "I have to take care of both you and Aurora. My God, what a burden," Marta exclaimed. Despite her age, Marta was totally independent. After the divorce, only grandmother Greta offered comfort to Elisa, saying that love is unpredictable and that everyone can make mistakes. While even her older sister Lena criticized her, calling her naive and reproached her for not choosing a rich man. "Look at me. I have everything under control. I'm 26 years old, and I have all the time and calm to get myself sorted out for life," Lena said. "Today, you have it. Tomorrow, you could lose it," the wise grandmother explained. "Look at your mother. She made many mistakes before finding your father, despite my advice." Elisa was always available to her grandmother. They spent a lot of time together and talked about everything. One day, while he was spending time with Greta, an unpleasant incident happened. Greta tripped and fell, badly breaking her femur. The scene was traumatic and full of tension. Elisa, in a panic, immediately called her mother. Marta arrived by car and took Aurora with her, while Elisa accompanied Greta to the hospital urgently. After a week of treatments, the doctor informed Elisa that little could be done to improve Greta's condition. She needed to rest. At that point, Elisa suggested to her mother and sister that they bring their grandmother into the house with them to assist her with daily activities, since she couldn't move or do any household chores. On the other hand, it was clear that the grandmother would need constant support for the simplest daily actions. Marta and Lena reacted with a clear refusal. "There is no space. It is not possible. We will stop by her house to help her every now and then," the mother exclaimed firmly. "Mom, I'm shocked," Elisa exclaimed, unable to believe the lack of compassion. Lena, without further ado, doubled down. "If you're so worried, why don't you go and live with her?" Faced with this difficult situation, Elisa moved, with little Aurora, to Greta's house. Do you think Elisa's attitude was right? Or do you think she should have fought harder to convince her mother and sister to take Greta with them? The grandmother was grateful for the presence of her granddaughter and great-granddaughter, but was also visibly concerned about the inconvenience they might experience. Elisa, to avoid Greta feeling like a burden, decided not to reveal Marta's complete unavailability to welcome her. But Greta, who knew her daughter well, was aware of the reality. No one in her family except Elisa sincerely wanted to take care of her. After several months, Greta recovered, despite the doctor's doubts. Perhaps Elisa's presence had worked the miracle. Greta began to move around the house, and Elisa thought about looking for a job soon, now that Aurora was about to start kindergarten. But Elisa didn't know that a tragedy was about to impact her life again. Would you be kind enough to leave a like on the video, and don't forget to stay in touch with us by subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much. Grandma Greta, at dawn on a sad Wednesday, had a stroke. Yet the woman was strong. Fortunately, thanks to the timely arrival of help, she survived. Although mentally clear, it was clear that she could no longer live alone. "Mum, we can't leave Grandma alone. I have to work. I can't look after her 24 hours a day. We should organize ourselves," Elisa explained to her mother. But Marta's answer was resolutely negative. "If you care so much, why do you want to go to work? You could take care of her." Elisa burst into tears, unable to understand the family's indifference. "Why are they so cruel? Don't they show any compassion?" Greta had always helped when needed, babysat without ever complaining. Why are they behaving so badly now? Elisa stopped crying and went over to her grandmother, thinking she was asleep. Instead, Greta spoke. "Elisa, I'm sorry you have to go through all this. I know I'm a burden." "That's not true, Grandma. We're just looking for the best solution," Elisa replied. Greta interrupted her decisively. "I heard the conversation. I know my daughter too well. She has always been selfish." After a few moments of silence, he continued. "You are different from them, Elisa. They have only envy and greed, while you are pure and kind-hearted. I worry about you. What will you do when I'm gone? But I won't let you depend on them. I'll make you independent." Greta insisted that Elisa contact a notary. "No, Grandma, it's not necessary. Mom and Emma won't abandon me," Elisa tried to reassure her. But Greta was determined. "When I die, the inheritance will be yours. I want you to be safe." After a few months, Grandmother Greta's strength could not withstand the second stroke, and she died. A week after his disappearance, the family met to divide their assets. When Marta and Lena arrived at Greta's house, they found not only Elisa and little Aurora waiting for them, but also 3 other people. They were a notary and 2 lawyers. In an atmosphere full of tension, the notary began to read the contents of the will. Much to Marta and Lena's surprise, all, from the house to the funds in Greta's bank account, had been left to Elisa. The notary's words echoed in the room, while expressions of shock and disbelief painted themselves on Marta and Lena's faces. They accused Elisa of deceit. "How can you behave like this? This inheritance should be divided equally," Lena shouted. "You manipulated my mother, I'm sure of it," Marta accused. Elisa remained calm. "Before I would have accepted, but now I have to think about myself and Aurora. In this house, we will be safe and happy," she replied. "You lost a sister today," Lena said, leaving the house. Marta followed her and concluded, "Elisa, I'll sue you." That will, compiled and signed with a notary and lawyers as witnesses, prevailed in court. Grandma Greta's will prevailed over the greed, indifference, and gratuitous wickedness of Marta and Lena. Do you think this ending is fair? Or do you think that the inheritance should always be divided equally among all the heirs?